For centuries, the galaxy had whispered stories about the Deathworlders. Among them, humans were legendary. They came from a planet so hostile that it should have killed them all. Earth had storms that could shred steel, oceans that could swallow continents, and jungles filled with creatures designed to kill anything that breathed. Yet humans thrived. They adapted, survived, and evolved. Their resilience was unmatched, their courage unparalleled, and their methods terrifying. The Valari Union was a peaceful civilization. Its citizens were delicate, crystalline beings that shimmered like glass under their sun. They had no military worth mentioning, no weapons capable of defending against true threats. Their world, Valara Prime, had flourished for millennia, until the day the Mire arrived. The Mire was not a species. It was a plague, a swarm of living metal and flesh that devoured entire worlds, leaving nothing behind. Every species that encountered it either surrendered or died. The Valari had no chance, yet they sent a desperate call across the stars, an SOS to anyone who could help. When the Terran Federation received the message, there was no debate. Humans did not consider whether the job was safe or reasonable. They considered only whether the call demanded action. Within hours, Task Force Ironside was in transit to Valara Prime. Its flagship, HSS Vengeance, jumped out of warp space with a roar that rattled sensors and shook satellites orbiting distant moons. Commander Arya Kane, a seasoned veteran of dozens of Deathworld conflicts, stood on the bridge. Her dark eyes scanned the fleet displays as Valara Prime grew larger in the view screen. The planet was beautiful, with crystal spires reflecting the soft light of its twin suns. But the surface was scarred already, with clouds of dark smoke rising from the first encounters with the Mire. Kane's voice was calm, but every word carried weight. All ships, maintain formation. Shields up. Weapons hot. We are here to contain and eliminate the threat. Nothing less, her crew obeyed without hesitation. Humans did not need orders repeated. Every soldier, every pilot, every engineer understood the unspoken rule. Failure was not an option. The Valari, watching through their sensors, could hardly believe what they saw. Ships the size of mountains moved into position, black and angular, with energy fields that shimmered like liquid metal. Cannons lined the sides, glowing faintly with the promise of destruction. These were not ships built for diplomacy. These were ships built to survive and dominate. The first engagement began as soon as the fleet entered Valara's orbit. The Mire descended in waves, tendrils of metal and organic matter that coiled around satellites and tore through atmosphere like living storms. The Valari's own defense systems barely registered against the swarm. Entire orbital platforms were shredded in seconds. Kane did not flinch. "Open fire," she ordered. The human fleet responded in perfect unison. Rail cannons tore through the first wave, vaporizing massive swarms before they could reach the planet's surface. Kinetic lances fired in streaks of blue light, piercing through the living metal like scalpels. Energy pulses melted organic tissue instantly. It was precise, controlled, and devastating. From her station, Lieutenant Rami Torres reported calmly, almost clinically. "Target wave neutralized. Secondary clusters approaching. Predict 3 minutes to impact," Kane nodded. "Secondary wave will not survive. Fire everything necessary." The humans fought differently than any other species in the galaxy. Where others hesitated or tried to minimize casualties, humans eradicated threats. Their logic was simple. Leave nothing that could rise again. The Mire was a predator that could adapt. The only way to survive was to destroy it completely. Valari Matron Aelra, watching from her palace, felt her entire crystalline body vibrate with fear. The humans were not like anyone she had known. Their weapons made the sky burn. Their ships moved with a terrifying grace, almost alive. They were helping, but at a cost no Valari had ever imagined. In orbit, the Mire adapted too. Its tendrils twisted around satellites, drawing them down into molten plumes. The swarm's coordination was horrifying, almost intelligent, but the humans adapted faster. Using advanced targeting protocols, they predicted every movement, countered every attack, and systematically reduced the swarm to ashes. Hours passed like this. Fire tore through the sky. Explosions rocked orbit and scorched the surface. Humans moved with a terrifying calm, issuing orders that seemed impossible. Yet everyone was executed with deadly efficiency. Finally, the last of the orbital swarm fell. Valara Prime's skies cleared, revealing a surface scarred and smoking. The Valari were alive. Their city domes, though damaged, still stood. They had survived. For a moment there was relief. But the humans did not celebrate. Their focus shifted to the ground below. Every inch of Valara Prime was scanned. Every crevice, fissure, and canyon was examined. Sensors picked up something deep underground. Small, fast-moving patterns. The mire had burrowed into the crust. It had survived. Kane's voice was low, yet it carried across the fleet. "Prepare ground teams. The fight is not over." Valari sensors could barely comprehend what was happening next. Dropships deployed. Heavy exo-armored marines descending to the surface. They moved like shadows over a burning landscape, scanning for threats. Weapons glowing faintly in the twilight. These humans did not merely fight to protect. They fought to ensure the enemy could never rise again. On the ground, Sergeant Maya Reyes led her team into the first canyon. Lava ran nearby. Fissures opened in the earth and the remains of the mire writhed in shallow pools. The soldiers moved without hesitation, dropping charges and scanning every inch of the terrain. Reyes spoke into her comms. Team Alpha advancing. 2 biotitans neutralized. No casualties. The humans had a way of instilling fear and awe at the same time. To the Valari, they were like demons of survival, unstoppable, relentless, merciless, but also strangely beautiful in their discipline and unity. Commander Kane observed from orbit, her hands resting lightly on the bridge console. She had seen worse. She had fought on worlds where the air itself tried to kill her. But she respected the Valari's fragility, and she would not let it prevent her from doing her job. The ground teams continued their purge. Everywhere the mire had burrowed, humans followed. They lit the surface with controlled explosions. They burned, incinerated, and sterilized every nest. The Valari watched, unable to intervene, unable to understand, but grateful all the same. By nightfall, Valara Prime was scarred but safe, for now. The human fleet hovered above, silent and imposing. Kane addressed the Valari via comms. "Your world is secure from immediate threat, but this is only the beginning. The mire burrows deep. We will follow until it is eradicated. Your safety depends on our persistence, not your defenses." Aelra could only whisper in awe. "Your methods, they terrify us. Yet you save us?" Kane's response was simple, almost matter-of-fact. "We survive by being the worst nightmare for what threatens us. You asked for help. You got it. That is all." As the Valari sun set over the damaged landscape, humans continued their work, scanning every canyon, every fissure, every shadow. The city domes flickered in the dying light, a fragile reminder that life could endure, but only because the Deathworlders of Earth had chosen to answer their call. The day after the humans cleared the skies, Valara Prime lay in a strange silence. The twin suns reflected off broken crystal spires, casting jagged shadows across the scorched ground. To the Valari it was both beautiful and terrifying, a world saved yet marred forever. From orbit, Commander Arya Kane watched carefully. Her eyes were dark and steady, scanning every sensor feed. The humans had eliminated the mire in orbit, but her instincts told her the threat was not finished. The swarm did not die easily. It burrowed, it hid, it waited. "Commander Kane," reported Lieutenant Rami Torres, voice calm as ever. "Seismic readings indicate large-scale movement beneath the crust, patterns consistent with mire activity." Kane's expression did not change. "Prepare ground teams. Deploy biocontainment squads. We are going underground." The Valari, fragile and delicate, gathered in trembling groups within their palace domes. High Matron Aelra spoke in disbelief. "Underground? You mean you will follow them into their lair? Into the very depths of the mire?" Kane's voice came over the comms, steady and unyielding. "If we leave it alive, it will return. Humanity does not negotiate with extinction." Dropships pierced the thin clouds, their engines kicking up ash and molten rock. The soldiers disembarked in full exo-armor, weapons glowing faintly in the dim light. They did not speak much. Humans rarely did. Their focus was absolute. Sergeant Maya Reyes led her team into the first fissure, a deep canyon scarred by the orbital bombardment. Lava flowed in red-orange rivers, and the ground trembled beneath their boots. Every step carried the risk of death, yet no human faltered. "Team Alpha, advance. Watch for movement," Reyes ordered. The fissure walls were jagged, blackened by the mire's invasion. Cracks pulsed with faint life signals. Tiny tendrils of living metal stretching toward the humans like hungry fingers. Reyes activated her scanner. Commander Kane, she reported. Subsurface nodes detected. 3 active bionests in the next 100 meters. Kane's calm, authoritative voice returned over the comms. Proceed. Neutralize all threats. No exceptions. The Villari, observing through emergency holograms, gasped. Humans did not hesitate. They did not pause to assess or reason. Where others would fear, humans advanced. They set charges, fired rail rifles, and released small implosion grenades that annihilated entire bionests in a single, brilliant flash. One of the tendrils lunged from a fissure faster than the eye could track. Reyes reacted instantly, swinging her weapon. The plasma blade seared through the creature. The air filled with smoke and the scent of burning metal. The Villari recoiled. They had never imagined violence executed with such precision and speed. Meanwhile, Kane directed orbital scans to trace deeper movement. The mire had adapted. Its tendrils were forming a core, an enormous mass of living metal and flesh buried beneath the planet's mantle. It was growing, feeding on the heat and minerals of Valara Prime, preparing to rise again. Kane spoke to Torres. Prepare heavy ordnance. We are going deeper than any species has ever gone. No one survives this by luck. Dropships descended into vast underground caverns. Lava rivers illuminated the walls with a fiery glow. The mire moved in strange, coiling patterns as if aware of every human step. It lunged, attacked, and retreated, testing them. But the humans adapted instantly, predicting every move with uncanny precision. In the central cavern, the first mire titan emerged. It was enormous, easily the size of a city building, black with molten veins pulsing across its body. Its eyes, or whatever the glowing sensors were, locked onto the humans. Reyes signaled her team. Fire everything. Rail cannons, plasma rifles, and nanite grenades combined in a symphony of destruction. The Titan shrieked, a sound that shook the cavern. Its body began to twist, reform, adapt, but the humans pressed forward, unrelenting. From above, Kane's voice cut through the comms. Deploy gravitic imploders. Drop them now. Explosions shook the cavern. Gravity warped, pulling the Titan apart. Metal and flesh shredded, but it reformed. Humans adapted immediately, repositioning charges, firing again, cutting it down a second time. The Villari could only watch in terror and awe. They had never imagined courage so absolute, discipline so flawless, or method so horrifyingly effective. These humans were not just fighters. They were predators perfected by millennia of hostile survival. Hours passed. The humans moved deeper. Each cavern revealed new horrors. Bionests that spewed living metal, tunnels that shifted and closed behind them, creatures that lashed with molten strength. But every attack was met with countermeasures, calculated and precise. In one deep cavern, Reyes and her team faced 3 bio-titans simultaneously. The creatures coiled around pillars of rock, forming a living cage. The Villari sensors could barely register the scene. Reyes spoke calmly into comms. Squad Echo advancing. Focus fire on the central Titan. Suppress the others with plasma netting. The humans executed flawlessly. The central Titan exploded under combined fire. The others faltered, then disintegrated under targeted rail cannon strikes. Smoke and fire filled the cavern, but not a single human was lost. Meanwhile, Kane directed the final push toward the mire core. It was massive, pulsing with a dark, unnatural energy, buried beneath layers of rock and living matter. Humans deployed nanite incinerators and gravitic imploders around it. The cavern shook as if the planet itself protested. The core began to rise, tendrils stretching upward like black rivers. Kane activated the final charge. Her voice was calm. For Valara Prime, for survival. Fire! A brilliant explosion lit the cavern. The core erupted in a storm of molten metal and fire. The mire's influence collapsed. Tendrils retracted, creatures died, and the underground network began to collapse. The humans pressed forward, guiding surviving Villari to safety. When the smoke cleared, Valara Prime was scarred beyond recognition. Entire underground systems were gone. Surface cities were damaged. Lava had reshaped the landscape. But the mire was completely destroyed. High Matron Aelra, trembling, approached Kane via comms. You destroyed everything. Yet did our people survive? How can this be called rescue? Kane's voice was distant, measured, almost cold. Because now you live. The mire will never rise again. That is enough. The Villari, fragile and crystalline, could not fully comprehend the humans' methods. They were awestruck, fearful, and grateful all at once. The humans had saved their species, but at a cost that could never be undone. Kane stood on the bridge of HSS Vengeance, watching the scarred planet. She did not celebrate. She never celebrated. Humans did not fight for glory or praise. They fought because survival demanded it, and survival required terrifying resolve. As the fleet prepared to depart, Kane left a final message for the Valari. Valara Prime is secure. But remember this, any species that calls for help must be ready for the consequences. Humanity answers only once. Choose your future wisely. The Valari would remember this day forever. It would be told in stories, songs, and whispers for centuries. They called it the day death answered. Across the galaxy, the tale spread. Every species that heard it understood a simple truth. When humans respond to an SOS, they do not just save lives, they annihilate threats. And if a human Deathworlder stands before your enemy, you can only pray that your side is safe or dead. Commander Kane and her fleet moved on, silent and imposing, leaving behind a world forever changed. And somewhere deep in the stars, other SOS signals flickered in the void. The humans would answer them too, because that was what they did. But every species who knew the tale shivered at the thought. When humans answer, the galaxy will never be the same.